Live from San Diego, California, this is the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans, with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eitzmo, and Mike Maciejewski. We're talking Chargers, Padres, and Aztec sports. It's time to let your voice be heard.
Another exciting day for us with the Pods here. A chance to add one of the better pitchers, one of the best pitchers in the American League over the last 8 years. A local guy, a guy that wanted to be here clearly. He knows what it takes, and he's going to be able to come in and with the guys that we have on our club, the guys that have also been in the postseason, the guys that want to get to the postseason, and he's going to be somebody that they can look towards, day in, day out. Who's going to be able to explain to them, hey, this is what it takes to get to where we want to get to. He's done it with two other organizations before, and we look forward to him doing it here in San Diego.
4 times in the postseason, an all-star, winning pitcher. The thing that I like, he goes to the post. He goes to the post.
He goes to the post.
He goes to the post. I'm going to steal a line from Josh. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Welcome to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for the fans.
By the fans.
I'm Jason here, along, of course, with Justin.
Right. I am Justin.
Today is the Jason and Justin show.
Yes, sir.
Josh is sick, and Mikey.
Mikey's part of the show.
Mikey is part of the show at the Aztecs game
Vejas.
tonight.
Yeah.
So he did have a valid excuse for not being here. Josh is sick, which we've all been through already.
We're on our third guy now.
We completely understand that.
Right.
Just for you guys out there in the chat room, big winner this week, Darren, multiple winner, first guy into the chat room. Thanks a lot, Darren.
Not the winner of James Shields, though.
James freaking
Shields.
He's
a Padre.
Is a Padre.
For $75 million.
That's a lot of cash, but
wow.
When we first heard about James Shields being a free agent, everybody was throwing around the $120 million mark.
That's a lot of money.
That's a whole lot of money.
That's a lot of good wine for some people. I never could see the Padres going. I mean, obviously they were in it with Yasmani Tomas for $100 million, or right. Pablo, I should say, Pablo Sandoval. But $100 million for a starting pitcher that's 33 years old?
Yeah.
I think he's 33. And it's a 4-year deal with a fifth option.
4-year fifth option. So 4 years, $75 million. Fifth option for whatever that'll probably never happen unless he's just
probably not.
But I was trying to think earlier today. Can you tell me the last time the Padres landed a significant big? I'll tell you when I think it was, but do you remember the last time the Padres landed an actual significant, big-named free agent?
Brad Hopp.
No.
Milton Bradley. Mike Pizza.
We named him. We nabbed him at the very, 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 very end.
Yes.
At
Greg Maddux
of their careers, but like when they're really good. When the last guy that I can come up with, and anybody in the chat room, if you can come up with a different guy, let me know. Steve Garvey.
Ooh.
Steve Garvey was the last time a significant free agent
was picked up by the Padres.
Came to San Diego.
Wow.
And then we got Goose Gossage and we got Greg Nettles, and those were guys that were they weren't at the end of their career.
Solid major league in their prime type of guys.
Towards the end of their prime, but still good. But Steve Garvey we got in his prime.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, this is crazy. When I saw him sitting at the podium today, I'm thinking to myself, this is so exciting. And, and then when they did the Upton and Myers and Norris press con, that was exciting. When they did the Kemp, I'm like, wow.
Greg Vaughn, Josh said Greg Vaughn. The only problem with that, Josh, is we traded for Greg Vaughn. He wasn't a free agent.
Right.
I'm not talking about trade. I'm talking about free agent. Marcus
Giles, stop it.
Thanks,
stop
Darren.
It. Well, how about his brother, too?
Now, Marcus Giles, did we sign him or was he a trade also?
Shoot, I don't remember. We were so bad.
I don't remember.
We were so bad, man. But yeah, just the excitement. Press conference. He went up there with positive energy. hey, I expect to win. I've been on winning organizations. I challenge the pitching staffs.
Exactly.
I want to be the guy here. And it was great to just see a guy. He's like, okay, I'm going to make all this money, but I want to be the guy here.
Right.
I'm not going to come in and
five
make a
starters.
check.
You know, I'm one of 5 starters.
Yeah.
And we want to have a strong starting rotation, which, you know, I mean, let's be honest here. Let's go through. Let's go through the starting rotation here real quick.
Mr. Prepared guy today.
You're right, Supercharged. He did really sound like a class act
when
he was talking to you. It was really nice to hear. James Shields, Andrew Kashner, Tyson Ross, Ian Kennedy, and then battling for the 5 spot, Odie Despaigne, who pitched really good last year.
Awesome, yes.
Robbie Erlin, Brian Morrow, Josh Johnson.
Yep.
Somebody who's not on this list, Corey Lubke.
Matt Whistler.
There's
There's a lot of contenders for that 5th spot this season, the spring training. But yes, I mean, we're not going to have a problem with depth with the starting rotation.
No, and you got to assume that one of those guys might get hurt.
Right. Well, you gotta kind of cautious optimism with Morrow and Johnson for sure. Coming off injury, especially Johnson. Corey Lubke's still in the mix. He's coming off Tommy John. We don't know how he's going to progress.
And we don't know when he's going to be ready.
No, and if I want to say, he's a left-hander, right? He would be perfect in that rotation because we have predominant right-handers. So, Robbie
Corey
Erlin.
Lubke at one time, whoever was looking at, was going to be the ace of the staff.
Right, yeah. And for me, man, it's a good problem to have. We know that.
Now, in your mind, is James Shields the opening day starter?
I would put him in there. You're going to pay a guy that much money. You put him against Kershaw on the road at Chavez, and I want to see a matchup. I want to see big game James, if you want to call him that. I don't prefer to call him that, but a big game James is what they call him. I'd like to see him in that opening day against Kershaw. Man, that'd be fun.
Well, we want to see where all the money went to. Somebody, I think it was Josh in the chat room. One thing that was mentioned, and I was talking to somebody at work earlier about this. The Padres' payroll now is $100 million, right?
A little over, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say it's around 105.
Last year it was like $90 million.
Uh-huh.
What the hell did we get for $90 million? Where did they spend $90 million
This is the difference between spending smart money and blowing stupid money and giving stupid extensions out with a GM that didn't know what he was doing.
But the extension that's gone is Seth Smith.
Right, no, but they gave Jerko an extension. But that's not dumb money, I don't think. Right. But he never really proved himself. But what I'm saying is you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Throwing money around like Maben. They gave him an extension back in the day when the stupid owners were
But Maben's still in the books, though. I'm trying to figure out how we got all these guys and we only went up $15 million.
Well, I think it's part of the fact that there was a lot of money coming off the books. I mean, you did get rid of Seth Smith with that. I think it was $5 million. Yeah. That's some money there. I mean, I think
another big part of it is the fact that the Dodgers are paying part of that this year.
Definitely.
I think that our payroll is going to go up quite a bit next year.
And it just came out today that the James Shields deal, they're only going to be paying him $10 million for the first season.
Yeah. Supercharged says in LA it's Shields starting is what he says. Yeah, we're only paying $3 million for Kemp. That's what Josh says. I have a feeling that next season our payroll is going to be a little bit higher.
Yeah, it should be
just because of that. But it's a real exciting time to be a Padre fan right now. Now, are you satisfied with the team? I know we're going to talk about this later on. We only have a couple minutes before our break.
You don't want me to go into my rant right now.
I don't want to. Streets off the books. That's another guy, Darren. Thank you, Darren. Houston Streets off the books.
You know, and staying on that topic, from what I'm hearing from all these experts on MLB, whatever you're listening to, they're saying the Padres are set up the next couple of years to have more money come off the books because of the Maben deal, the Quentin deal.
Yeah.
A lot of money will be coming off, and
we will be
and
adding
Upton's
some,
a one-year
right.
rental. So you're not really spending that much money this season.
Yeah.
So
we're when we talk about spending smart, you had mentioned that.
Yeah.
It sure seems like we're
it's
spending
smart
money,
but
we're not going to know until
it's up on
it's a
paper.
Early.
It's on paper.
So that's like saying,
what a
great draft we had.
No, as Darren would say, pump the brakes.
ESPN said the Padres will finish 80 and 82. What are our thoughts on that? That's from Josh. We'll actually talk about that later.
Oh, what do they know?
We're going to be talking to ESPN. They don't have any.
No experts over there. Right.
Well, to be honest with you, when you're predicting the ending of a season,
I agree. Supercharged. They can suck my balls. They suck sometimes.
There really are no experts predicting, anyways.
No.
You got these people who
they don't know what's going to happen.
No, the bottom line is the season's going to go how the season goes. But as a Padre fan, we are excited.
Yes.
We have things to talk about.
Yes.
We last year we were trying to create
Yes.
things to talk about, and now we actually have things to talk about.
It
and
is so refreshing.
awesome.
Isn't it?
But we are going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to actually talk Chargers offensive line. I believe that they had a few problems last season.
Just a couple.
So we're going to talk some offensive line with Jake and Jake's Take. And then after that, next segment, we'll open up the phone lines and we'll be talking everything, which will probably be pretty Padre heavy, a little bit of Aztecs.
All right.
So we'll be back in a little bit.
I said, you let me slide. I have the rent for it or more than next, I don't know. So let me slide it on, people. I notice when I come home in the evening, she ain't got nothing nice to say to me. But for 5 years, she was so nice. Lord, she was lovey-dovey.
Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site.
1 week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want.
Got a player who's hurt? No problem.
Injuries won't derail your shot at victory because it's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players.
Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash.
This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000.
And a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com.
You could be next. Imagine winning $1 million in one day just playing fantasy football at DraftKings.
Head to DraftKings.com now and use promo code Spreaker to play free in the $10 million Fantasy Football World Championships.
DraftKings.com. Bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
You need help with your business project that is due? Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects, SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
And all y'all combined, we got more bounce in California. We like to party all the time. We got more bounce in California, where the hustlers all reside. We got more bounce in California, rolling easy when we ride.
Well, excuse me for a while, but it's time to propagate. I'm coming from the land where the seasons never change. We're all around the world, they're all looking to LA. Always the first in new directions, cause Cali leads the way.
We got more bounce in California than all y'all combined. We got more bounce in California. We like to party all the time. We got more bounce in California.
What is that song? I've never heard that song before.
That is the song they used to play at Qualcomm Stadium before the kickoff of every game.
Really?
I swear to God. And I'm sure a few of the guys in the chat room have heard that at the stadium. It's been a while. They stopped playing it the last couple seasons.
Yeah,
It's
they
weird.
play that Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train now.
They used to play this before Crazy Train, before the kickoff.
Really?
I swear to God.
I didn't even recognize the song. That was
If anybody can back me up on that in the chat room, I would love that, because
Yeah.
it is kind of a gay song. But when I heard it, at the stadium, I always used to get pumped for some reason because it was talking California.
So we still haven't hooked up with Jake yet, so we're waiting for him to call in. But we're going to go ahead and go ahead and move forward with the Chargers now. Each week, we're the San Diego Sports Junkies. We talk all San Diego sports, of course. We're most people are interested in the Chargers. We love talking Chargers.
Josh is such a Charger fan. Man, what's wrong with you, man?
So we.
I think Darren's backing me up in the chat room. Is that the 100% for the song? Yeah, Cool. I'm glad somebody recognized it, because I used to dig that song in the stadium. I wouldn't listen to it on my iPod, but I thought it would trigger some good memories from the banter out there.
Apparently it has.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we're picking a different position to speak about each week. We're basically trying to find stuff to talk about through the off season because we still want to, Padre season starting up soon.
Right.
But we want to talk Chargers still. We still
course.
want to talk Chargers.
Oh, we do.
And,
we can dabble in it.
Right. So we're trying to find a subject each week, and I'm not sure what Josh is saying there.
That's why Tiffany loves me.
We're all trying to figure out why she loves you. I guess that's why.
We're trying to figure that out, Joshua. We love you too, man.
So offensive line definitely was an issue
Yes.
for the Chargers last season.
Slightly.
What do you think they need to do? Do we need to build? Do we need to build in the draft? Do we need to build through free agency? Do we need to try and find a mixture of both? And I'm going to go ahead and actually hold on to that right now because Jake actually is on the phone right now. Jake, welcome to the show this week, buddy.
Gentlemen, how are we doing this week? Good to hear from you.
What's up, Jake? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Hanging in there.
Good.
We're getting ready to talk some offensive line, and of course, as you know, that was probably the biggest area of weakness for the Chargers, and probably the biggest area of concern for the Charger fans. Just quickly, I'm sure you have a lot of stuff you want to talk about the offensive line. Are you in favor of them trying to improve it through the draft or through free agency or trying to find a mixture of both? What do you think is the best tactic that the Chargers take?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting, the Chargers could really go a multitude of different ways here. And, if you think about it, with as many offensive linemen that were used throughout last season, you have to think about it. Obviously, priority number one, the offensive line would really be to bring back King Dunlap.
Yes.
Quietly, he had one of, the better years of any of the offensive linemen that were across the roster for the Chargers. And left tackles, because they are hard to find, and maybe you don't want a rookie left tackle, stepping in this season and blocking Phillip Rivers' blindside. And it's hard to find left tackles that are 6'9" and the size of King Dunlap in general. So I think that bringing him back through free agency, number one, is definitely a high priority. You go down the line a little bit, you have, all your centers. What's going to happen with all the centers that are rotated in? Doug Legursky, Rich Ornberger, obviously with Nick Hardwick retired, so somebody has to fill that gap. Is it going to be
Robinson.
Chris Watt?
Yeah.
That is going to definitely be an area of interest. And then you have your guards. Of course, the talk about moving DJ Fluker over to the guard position. I really think that if the Chargers go anywhere, whether it's free agency or the draft, I think you have to single out the right tackle position. I think that is the biggest side of the line with the question mark right now.
Yeah, I love that they talked about early before going into free agency and all that they're going to move Fluker over, or the reports were in UT and all that. Now, going through the draft is a little risky because you don't know how a guy's going to pan out. We know that. You've seen guys flop. Would you like to see maybe one guy out of the draft, one guy out of the free agent market? What would your plan of attack be if you were Tom Telesco? Because for me, I know I'd want to make one big splash in free agency, get a solid maybe left guard, right tackle, or get a stud young right tackle that's a sure thing, which is never a sure thing. So what would your approach be, Jake, going forward?
I would probably say if you do a mix, you bring in a veteran, but keep it on. The Chargers' offensive line for the most part is starting to get up there a little bit in age. We've obviously seen that with the retirement of Jeremy Clary and Nick Hardwick and all these injuries. Go out and actually get yourself an established center who's still young and very durable. Go steal Hudson from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's only 26 years old. He's one of the best centers in the league. He's going to be a free agent this year. The question mark with him is that he's going to probably demand a pretty hefty contract. And, as the ball starts to roll when free agency gets started, it's all going to really depend on, who the Chargers can lock up at the earliest time so they can focus in on a certain position that they know that they need. If it was any position at all, I know with all the centers that we really have, you got to get somebody in there that's going to be durable, because health was the biggest concern in the center position. With Ornberger in his back, you never know what's going to happen. With Legursky and his injury, who knows if the Chargers are even going to consider bringing him back. And then, of course, you have Chris Watt, who could always, be a rotation guard at his natural position. So I think going that route for the center position would be good, and then go out and find yourself a stud right tackle to put next to DJ Fluker and just solidify the right side of that line for years to come.
We had one of our listeners, SoCal Trav, a few weeks ago called in, and he gave us his blueprint if he was the GM, what he would do for the Chargers, and a couple names that he came up with. They're kind of below the radar guys. Instead of maybe making a giant, real sexy signing, what do you think about a couple guys? Now, I'm going to put you on the spot now because I don't know how much you know about either one of these guys. Brian De La Puente from the Bears. He's 29 years old. He plays center and guard, so we could bring him in maybe for center. And Chris Hairston from the Buffalo Bills, a tackle. De La Puente is only 29. Hairston's only 25. Both of them made less than $1 million last year. Both free agents, so they're both looking for a pay raise. But what do you think if the Chargers maybe brought in a couple maybe not
under the radar.
Yeah, a couple under the radar guys maybe to fill a couple of those holes and
spend money elsewhere.
What do you think about that, Jake?
I think it's a great idea, and both guys fit the Chargers scheme, in my opinion, perfectly. They like versatile offensive linemen. Like you said, De La Puente fills in that spot for center and guard, and it's still at only 29. The Bears' offensive line in general, has been a bit of a question mark over the years, but bringing in a kid like that, who's obviously had proven time. He's a veteran at a low cost. It sounds like the type of Tom Telesco signing, if you will. And as far as I'm forgetting his name now, but
Chris
from the
Hairston
Buffalo Bills,
from Buffalo.
That would make so much sense because you have. I'm totally having a brain fart on our offensive line coach's name right now.
Yeah.
Yes, Coach Joe D was the offensive line coach over at Buffalo, where we got Chad Reinhardt from. So that would make complete sense. He would already be familiar with that type of scheme. It would be easy transition to go from Buffalo to San Diego. So I think both of those moves would make perfect sense, no doubt about it.
Now, you mentioned Rich Ornberger's back, which is certainly a concern. Now, last season, his play really declined, and me personally, I'm going to put that all on his back. Doug Legursky, I think, after a rough first game, actually started playing pretty well before he got hurt. I know Legursky, Ornberger, Trevor Robinson, all three of those guys are free agents right now. Are you comfortable at all if the Chargers wanted to bring back maybe Legursky and Ornberger and let them battle it out for center, or do you want them just to go in a different direction?
If it were me, I mean, you gotta bring one proven veteran back. It's still going to be a shaky situation having Chris Watt as your possibly, new starting center to start off next year, when you know how many problems you had at the center position in 2014. You have to bring somebody back there who's familiar with the system. You have to bring somebody back there who's proven to perform well. And if we were to go through all the centers that the Chargers went through this year, there's two really who I would think to bring back. And one might actually surprise you. I would bring back Rich Ornberger because he spent a couple of years already in the system. He's familiar with it. Albeit, should his back be at 100%, that would make a ton of sense. The other would actually be Trevor Robinson. And the reason that I say that is because in spot duty, he played really, really well. Stepped in big time in the Baltimore game down the stretch, and he's young. So getting a kid like that at the type of contract that he would demand, which is not much at all, would be the type of signing that you like to see to then, like you said, focus your attention with other free agents elsewhere.
Hey, Jake, all I've been hearing on local, affiliates and stuff, and this is one of the key positions that we were looking forward to talking about because it was such an area of concern last year. For me, this has to be where I was just about to say Preller. Sorry, he's the talk of the town, GM. Anyway, Tommy T has to really focus on this year. Now, I want 3 studs to come in here. Orenberger, for me, he's a great backup. Legursky's a great backup. Robinson's a great backup, but I don't want backups. I want legitimate offensive linemen. While Phillip Rivers' career is kind of in the twilight now, dwindling down in a Chargers uni. I hope not. I hope he's here for a while, but we're getting to that point. You know what I'm saying? And I think we really need to beef up this line if you're going to give any sense of confidence to Phillip and company. I really got the sense when I heard Nick Hardwick on a local show, I think it's 1360 here, talking about mean, nasty. We need guys to come in here and road grade. That's why I love the Fluker move. Get him over to tackle, make roads for our running backs. Is it me, or are you on that same boat to where I don't care if we spend half the money of free agents' money towards offensive line? I really want to see a mean, nasty line next year to help the running backs, and I'm sure that's what everybody wants. But what's your take on that, and is that where you would spend most of your cap space?
Well, I agree with you 100% as far as this has to be the focal point of what the Chargers really look at to really revive themselves going into this next season. But again, you get into a situation where free agency starts to hit and certain positions that we all know the Chargers need elsewhere really start to suffer. Let's just say, for example, if for whatever reason the Chargers do not get Brandon Flowers on the contract and they spent it on a center, I can't say I wouldn't be somewhat disappointed in that. But at the same time, you still do need, like you said, you don't want to go with backups.
No,
as the start.
We're tired of that here. I mean, I know you are.
Totally understand that as well. We don't want to see another rotation of offensive linemen. We don't want to go through 23 different combinations of the offensive line next year. It just doesn't work. We've seen it. It's just not proven as a winnable type of product.
Right.
So you have to maybe go spend some extra coin on offensive line. The key part is that where is it going to come from?
Right.
And that's why we really singled out the position here of the center, because you really have there's few and far between good centers out there that fit the mold of still being youthful and as a veteran, and of course, number one is durable. So, in my opinion, if you were going to spend any money at all, that's big-time money, King Dunlap gets it, and whoever it is that you can find in a free agent as far as a good young center has to get it as well. And then go to the right tackle and draft somebody in the probably the second or the third round.
I'm happy you brought up King Dunlap. I'm going to ask you a couple things about 2 different guys. First, it's going to be real easy. I want everybody's thinking King Dunlap needs to be brought back. Everybody's saying that. Yes or no from you first is King Dunlap going to be a Charger next year? That's my first question. And second, when we talk about nasty, one of the things that's brought up in the chat room, and I really noticed it too, Chris Watt really seems like he plays with a little bit of nasty. He's really chippy out there, especially when he was playing guard. When he got moved to center, I think that he had his hands full a little bit more. Didn't have that much didn't have the chippiness in him. But when he was playing guard, he seemed to play really, really chippy. The type of offensive line play we're looking for. Do you think that he's that type of guard? And then, of course, the King Dunlap thing too.
Let's start with King Dunlap. Absolutely, 100%. The 2 guys that I think that the Chargers will get under contract first, if they absolutely have to, is Brandon Flowers and King Dunlap. Both high priorities. Need to sign those guys now. There's just too much experience with King Dunlap and his size and his freakish stature that you're not going to be able to find a rookie to just plug and place in that type of position and protect your franchise quarterback. With Chris Watt, I agree with you on the chippiness side. Yes, he does play with a mean streak. He was that way all throughout his Notre Dame career. The only problem is that we never really got to see that much of it because he kept getting rotated with Johnny Troutman throughout the offensive line throughout certain spurts of the game. And then, of course, when we lost all of our centers, he became our strict go-to center. So I think because guard is his natural position, and he did show a little bit of that chippiness as well, and because Johnny Troutman will most likely not be with the Chargers next year, you'll probably see Chris Watt in that backup role still, rotating behind DJ Fluker at the right guard. I'm sure that Mike McCoy, like he normally does throughout the whole offensive line, he'll have all of his offensive linemen playing all 5 positions. So you'll probably see a little bit of Chris Watt on the left side, a little bit on the right side, and of course, depending on, knock on wood, should injuries happen, you're going to see him in either one of those 2 spots next year.
Hey, Jake, while it's not sexy, I know we could turn our attention to the draft a little bit. Who are a couple names that you would consider, since we're talking we need sure things here for Phillip in the next few years. We need legitimate O-linemen to come in here if we're going to go through the draft at some point. While it's not sexy in a first-rounder, and some people might be disappointed, who is a guy that you're looking at, or a couple guys out there that could fill that role for the Chargers next season?
Well, a lot of the guys throughout like the first round, the big name guys, you have your Andreas Peace, you have your Lael Collins, you have your Eric Flowers. A lot of these guys that they talk about would probably be better suited at left tackle, which is why a lot of these guys are going to be drafted in the first round. Lael Collins is actually one that I do believe that could could stay and permanently be at the right tackle position. I think he would be a fine choice. I know a lot of people have said about Quanjo and, putting together the offensive line that was in Alabama,
right?
and putting it next, and putting him next to DJ Fluker again. But I've got to tell you, I'm one of the few naysayers on him, just because you put the tape on about that guy, you start sounding like Mike Mayock right now when you say put the tape on. But you go back and
hey, roll it, Kuiper, roll it.
Yes, exactly. If you go back and you watch some of his video, it's not consistent. It actually reminded me a lot of the Jared Gaither role. I don't think he plays every single snap, and he's not a mauler. He's not a necessarily good run blocker, and especially, which is funny, coming out of Alabama.
Yeah.
So I would totally throw that suggestion out the window, but one that I would really eyeball that could really realistically fall into possibly the second round, be down the line depending on how the draft falls, would be Lael Collins.
With all this offensive line talk, one of the guys, you mentioned him a little bit, one of the guys that was a huge disappointment last season to me, Chad Reinhardt. Do you see him coming back and maybe reestablishing himself as a NFL offensive lineman, or do you think the Chargers are going to move on, look in a different direction?
Well, he is under contract, so he will be coming back, no doubt about it. But he has to perform well. And I agree with you, he had a little bit of a down year. But again, out of majority of the offensive linemen that the Chargers had last year, he was one of the few durable ones that was able to answer the bell for a majority of the year. So you look at durability like that, and when you know the reputation of what the Chargers offensive line went through last year, you need to keep a guy like that around. And it's also good just for the fact that he has that camaraderie with Coach Joe D being in Buffalo. So I wouldn't see why the Chargers would, A, want to cut a guy who's still under contract, and B, when you have a starting offensive guard like that who's very familiar with your offensive line coach, it just wouldn't make that much sense. Why break up this offensive line that much more when you're really trying to keep camaraderie after it went through so many injuries last year?
Hey, Jake, we're going to kind of go to the mailbag portion. We're going to get away from the offensive line in a minute. SoCal Trav had a question. Should we start preparing start preparing for Phillip Rivers' replacement within the near future? Not saying necessarily this season, but coming up in the next couple drafts. Should we start searching for that guy to groom under Phillip? Maybe a couple years where he can learn, Phillip's mannerisms, the way he works, the system. Is it time to start looking ahead at quarterback for the Chargers?
Yeah, you have to. And And I agree, no, it's not in this draft. Maybe not next year's draft.
Right.
Who knows? But sometime within the next 3 years,
Yes.
you definitely have to look at it. You don't want to get into your position just because of the way that it used to be. You know, Aaron Rodgers was one of the last guys that sat behind his quarterback for a couple of years and then started. Ever since then, everything kind of shifted to where you get these rookies that are drafted and you expect them to go in and start right away and produce.
Don't you feel bad for some of these guys? I mean, sorry to interrupt you.
Browns, for example.
Yeah, they
everything
just
that
throw
they've
them in
gone
there.
through- Exactly. Everything that they've gone through between Brian Hoyer and Johnny Manziel and now the talk of them possibly moving up to getting Marcus Mariota, you don't want to have a rotisserie quarterback every year. It's just not going to get anywhere with your team. So you definitely have to look at it while Phillip Rivers is still under contract. Obviously, this is going into the last year of Phillip Rivers' contract. He will get extended.
Right.
So you have to do it in that period of time. And, of course, you know, anybody who sits behind Phillip Rivers is going to learn a great number of things. So we don't know what round it's going to be in for the eventual replacement. We just don't know. I mean, Phillip Rivers was one of those guys who was drafted in the first round. Aaron Rodgers was one of those guys that was drafted in the first round. So you have to expect that at some point, obviously depending on what the quarterback class is going to look like over the next 3 years, the Chargers are going to make a significant investment in their next signal caller.
Hey, Jake, bringing it back to the offensive line in the chat room here. Michael Orr got blindside. We'll just call him blindside.
The blindside.
He got released recently. Would he be worth taking a flyer on as a right tackle? You got to think that he would come relatively cheap, or do you think that the price will be too high for someone who maybe isn't as good as everybody thought?
He's going to come cheap because of the fact that he signed a pretty significant contract to go to the Tennessee Titans last year. So from a financial standpoint, does it make sense? Yeah, it's probably worth a flare. But when you talk about production, it takes a huge leap off the map to there's just nothing to show. You know, he was rotated in and out in Baltimore for his bad play. And when Tennessee can cut a guy like that after signing into a big contract 1 year after they brought him in, it doesn't really do anything to any of the other teams looking around that this guy can come in and be a starting right tackle.
So you're thinking his future in the NFL is maybe as somebody coming off the bench, but you think his days as a starting significant tackle are over, huh?
Yes, I think any team that signs him would have to put him in a rotational role until he could do something significant to say that I can win a starting job and I can keep a starting job because I can put up constant production.
Now, the Chargers had somebody hanging out on the practice squad most of the season, and then I think he actually got busted for PEDs. Craig Watts. I remember seeing him in the preseason. He looked like he played a little bit nasty too, but he didn't really play that good. Do you know much about him? First of all, if he's even going to be available at the beginning of the season, do you know if they are giving any thoughts to the future of him? Maybe he could possibly be in the mix, or is there really not a whole lot of information on him?
There's not too much information on Craig. I know everybody confuses him with Chris Watt just because they have such similar names. But you really just have to look at all the offensive linemen that came through. I mean, even talk about Jeremiah Sirles, who came through on the practice squad that ended up playing, some significant time down the stretch for the Chargers. So the Chargers have enough offensive linemen to field two teams right now. It's really remarkable how many offensive linemen are considered either leaving the Chargers or coming back to the Chargers, or is there going to be a training camp battle again? I'm sure for Craig's sake that they will probably bring him in on a training camp battle schedule. Will he make the final roster? No. And with all the offensive linemen that are now, within the Chargers organization, I honestly don't think, unless something significant happens, that he'll even make the practice squad roster.
Yeah, you got to think somebody who was on the practice squad that long and with all the problems that the Chargers had, and he still was not promoted up. That's pretty telling, for a guy like that. Real quickly, we like to bounce around quite a bit. The latest mock draft from what's his name?
Mel Kiper. Yeah.
Has the Chargers taking a running back in the first round now.
Which one was it?
Would they Gurley?
Oh, Todd Gurley.
Melvin Gordon.
Oh no, Gordon. I'm sorry,
gotcha.
Gordon. I'm sorry. You're right, Gordon. What are your things? I know we talked running backs already, but do you think that would be a wise investment for us to use a first-round draft choice on a running back, or do you think that we could get some production from a different direction?
In my opinion, it's that. I mean, the draft is the way to go with the running back position. Now, is it in the first round? I could not tell you. I really couldn't. But is Melvin Gordon a bad choice? Is it going to disappoint me if the Chargers end up picking Melvin Gordon, who's supposedly the next Jamal Charles in this draft? I couldn't stay mad at it for really more than 5 seconds because it is a position of need. It is a terrific three-down running back that the Chargers absolutely need. And to think what somebody like Melvin Gordon could do to your running game when you complement him with everything else that the Chargers have in the backfield currently right now, it would be really fascinating to see. He's a durable guy. He does not have an injury history like Ryan Matthews. He definitely can make the running game work on his own if he needed to. So I can't say that I'd be against it, but I can't at the same time necessarily say I'd be entirely for it. But again, like I said, I'd only really be mad about it for about 10 seconds if the Chargers end up doing that.
Yeah, that's how we are too. Usually when they draft somebody, we get mad and then we get real excited about whoever they drafted. Last question for you this week. I'm going to bring it back to the offensive line. We talked a little bit about DJ Fluker moving from tackle to guard. What do you think? Let's just assume that that's really going to happen. What is your thoughts on that? I've never really heard what you actually thought on that. Do you think that he's going to come in and be a serviceable guard, or do you think that he's going to come in and just be an absolute dominating guard? What do you think is going to happen with that?
The whole rap sheet on Fluker when the Chargers drafted him a couple years ago was that everybody eventually predicted that he was going to go to the guard position. Nobody really thought about that possibility because you had Jeremy Clary already established at the guard position. You saw what it did for Clary's production. And in my opinion, Clary played better at guard than he did at tackle.
Yes.
I know a lot of people don't agree because, you know, it hasn't been the greatest Jeremy Clary bandwagon in San Diego for the longest time. But think about a guy like Fluker and his size and the way that he plays the game. When you have now not one, but you have two guys on either side of you. And again, if you can establish a right tackle in the draft or via free agency that is just a dominating one blocker, you have another guy who comes in at that size at 6'5" and above, and put him next to a guy like Fluker with the way that he plays the game, I think it's only going to elevate DJ's game immensely. A lot of people were able to just beat him on the outside because DJ doesn't have the quickest feet in the world. Now he's not going to really have to worry about that problem. So, you know, he'll be watching out for more of the stunts and, you know, taking on the guy that's directly in front of him. And with his power, he's going to be able to win a majority of these battles. So DJ moving to guard, I think, is a fantastic idea. It's going to help the offensive line's production no matter what it is that the Chargers put around him. Even if it's just his production in general that gets better, it's definitely going to help the team.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about it. My only concern, like I said, I'm not an offensive line coach. I don't watch the tape, all that type of stuff. We talk about his slow feet. Will he have any trouble pulling as a guard, or do you think that won't be an issue?
No, I don't think that will be an issue at all. You know, a lot of these times that you saw, the few times actually that you saw the Chargers do a screen pass, nobody wanted any part of DJ Fluker when he got down the field. Not anybody.
You were running away.
I don't see any problem with Fluker being able to pull whatsoever. Right. I think he will be just fine in that department.
Yeah, I'd love to see him just come pull and just crush a linebacker.
Isn't it great to we're going to see him as a guard and just maul people?
I'm so excited about that. I mean, I always get excited about the new Charger season.
Yeah.
Once again, we love having you on here, Jake. We look forward to hearing from you every single week. Next week, we will be flipping to the defensive side of the ball. We're going to be talking defensive backs. We're going to be talking safeties and corners. getting some ideas what you think the Chargers, of course, are going to do with their own players, who they might bring in, draft, all that type of stuff, all the same old stuff we talk each week. So, like Josh would said, time to do your homework. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to talking to you about the defensive backs next Wednesday.
Always look forward to talking to you guys, whether it's about these type of topics, regular season, preseason. You know that, like you guys say, there is no off season at all. So always enjoy talking to you guys, and looking forward to next week.
Thanks, Jake.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Jake.
You're the man.
All right, that was Jake Hefner from BoltBeat.com. Comes on every week. We really love talking to him. Love getting Jake's take.
Jake's take, man. It's a great great segment.
Hearing what he's got to say. He always has a lot more inside information.
He does his research, you can tell.
He has a lot more insight to stuff. We're just fans. He's more of an insider.
I give the props, though, to SoCal last week, man. He's getting a couple weeks ago. He had the linemen all scoped out. Good job on that, SoCal.
Yeah, he had some good names there. It looks like we got some old visitors.
Look at that, Brian's in the house.
Brian's in the house.
Brian, what is up?
I saw Portland in the house. All sorts of people.
Look at the chat room blowing up, and for that, we're gonna play some gangsta rap.
We're gonna go to a quick break. We're gonna come back. When we come back, like you guys know, it's gonna be a free for all. We can be talking Padres again, talking Aztecs, Chargers, anything you guys want, and we'll be back in a few.
Just a swing in my hair. Bitch, quit talking, quit walk if you're down with the sick. Take a bullet with some dick and take this dope on this jet. Out of town, put it down for the father of rap. And if your ass get cracked, bitch, shut your trap. Come back, get back, that's the part of success. If you believe in the ass, you'll be...
Do you need help with your business project that is due? Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects, SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
All right, we're back here. This is San Diego Sports Junkies. This is Jason and Justin. Josh and Mike are out.
They're out.
Josh is in the chat room, though, but he's homesick right now, and Mike is representing us with the show.
Well, I hope he has a sign.
Yeah.
Sports Junkie sign in the show. He's out there jumping up and down, being crazy.
I wanted to take a quick moment before we start talking Padres. I think everybody's so excited to talk Padres.
Thank you, Supercharged, for the I love some Hank, too. Little Hank Williams.
Is that who that was?
Little Hank Williams and Kid
Nice.
Rock. Yeah, you got to love it.
I wanted to just let everybody know we're looking to we like to partner with different people. Of course, SK Digital Imaging has been a fantastic partner for us.
Right.
Cali Comfort has been a great partner for us. We're looking for somebody to partner with us to maybe do some T-shirt printing.
Yeah.
Anybody knows anybody out there who does T-shirts? We'd love to maybe swap some advertising for some shirts. We're always looking for different partnerships. Maybe somebody who's looking to do some advertising. Of course, we won't charge you.
Right.
We'll do it all. Everything we do is in trade.
We're hashtag Team Low Budget.
Absolutely.
So we don't really work with money. We do the trade-off. The show gets pub through iHeartRadio. People do listen to this show, whether anybody out there thinks so or not. They do. Yeah. It's cool. We appreciate all the listens. But, we're up for swaps and any type of service you might want to provide for us.
So hit us up on Twitter, Facebook. There's all, if you want to find somebody, they can be found. You know where we are.
Yeah.
You know how to find us. So give us if if you know anybody or you do some printing yourself and you're interested, let us know.
For sure.
Padres have been pretty busy this offseason. We keep talking each week.
Hold on. Cue up the music.
All right.
I want to get I want people riled up. Here we go. Turn it up, man.
The 1-1 pitch. A one-hopper to Neto, to Wiggins, and the Padres have the National League pennant. Oh, Doctor, you can hang a star on that, baby.
There you go. There's a little doctor for you. Doesn't that get you fired up?
Now, see, I was 11 when that happened.
I wasn't alive.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was -1. But every time I see that clip or I hear that clip of Jerry Coleman, I get goosebumps, and I can't believe that happened in my city.
It's funny when that's funny. Supercharged says the same thing, goosebumps. And Josh mentioned 17,000 listens.
That's awesome.
So that's
what a milestone.
That's what you're going to get if you partner with us. By the way.
Yeah.
But it's funny that we're talking about the last time the Chargers signed a significant free agent, and it was before you were born.
Yes,
for crying out
I know.
loud.
Isn't that crazy?
That is amazing. So your whole life, the Padres have never signed a significant free agent until now.
Isn't that crazy? I was -1 when Jerry Coleman was announcing that game. So
unbelievable.
Right. Let's dive into it, brother.
So we got Padres. They got on paper, of course. Anybody out there who's going to keep everything that we say is on paper right now. So don't say, well, everything is on paper. They got to play. Of course they got to play, but the games haven't started yet. So that's all we can talk about.
Right.
So I don't want to hear about people complaining.
Spring training's not even here yet, people.
Exactly. So everything we talk about is on paper.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
So stop pointing out the obvious.
That's a crowded paper,
yes.
too.
So on paper, we have an absolutely killer starting rotation.
Yes.
You got to say top 3 in the league.
Yeah, I would say
top to bottom
in National League. I'd say we're top 3 or 4 team there
from top to bottom.
Top
now
to bottom.
There's plenty of teams that have a better number 1 than us.
Yes. On paper,
right?
Yes,
on paper.
Yes, sir.
But top to bottom, when you have, like we had said before, most people don't know Odie Despaigne. Padre fans do because he pitched fantastic last season. Robbie Erlin, Brandon Morrow, Josh Johnson,
Corey Lubke coming back from injury.
All these guys are fighting for the number 5 spot in the rotation.
What a competition.
Tells you how deep that this rotation is.
We haven't even mentioned, Matt Whistler's. There's Casey Kelly's coming back. There are so many options for this team, and like you said, it stacks up with anybody in the National League.
Yeah.
And whoever wins that 5th spot is really going to have to earn that 5th spot in spring training.
Supercharged, that's right. Despaigne had a no-no going last season.
Yeah.
Crying out loud.
I remember that.
What is your opinion now? Because we're so happy with our pitching rotation, how deep it is. What would you do if you woke up tomorrow and Andrew Cashner was gone and we had ourselves a legit shortstop?
Personally, I wouldn't be as mad as a lot of people would be out there. I know a lot of people love Cashner, but I've always been the proponent on the side of too injury prone for me. He's the Ryan Matthews of the San Diego Padres. He's fantastic when he's out there, and he produces. He can throw you 1-hitters, 2-hitters. He can lead you into the 8th inning. The guy's a stud. But he has too many elbow issues, and that's concerning going into the year. I'm glad we have the depth this year. It's a great thing because we'll need it. But Cashner is a fan favorite here. A lot of people love him. I love him. I think he's a great guy. He's a workhorse. He's a country boy. Slings the baseball up to 100 miles an hour. But I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if you brought in a legitimate shortstop to the Padres.
By the way, we're getting a perfect example of how much Josh would love to participate in the chat room when he's doing the show.
Oh.
Because when he's doing the show, he has to talk more. He can't type as much. Now that he's actually
he's on every...
He is all
few seconds ago. Look at that.
But I agree with you, Josh. I as well have mixed feelings because I would love to see a shortstop come in now. Baseball-wise, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm a Padre fan. I don't watch a whole lot of baseball, so I'm not going to get the names. There were some rumors that the Rangers were shopping a shortstop.
The young kid Profar.
I spoke to somebody at work who knows a lot more about baseball than I do, and he thinks he's quite a stud.
Yeah.
If we trade Cashner for him, first of all, who knows if it's very, very possible that the Rangers would tell us to go kick rocks and they wouldn't be interested in that. But if that opportunity became available, I'm almost feeling a little greedy right now, and as strong as our pitching is, I don't want to give any of it up.
Yeah.
But I also remember talking in the preseason or a few months ago, telling any day of the week I would trade a pitcher for a hitter. So
for a position player,
I got mixed feelings on that, just because I
tough.
love how strong our starting pitcher
Well,
is.
and you want to see them succeed with Cashner. You really do, because you gave up Rizzo in that deal ultimately, and he's gone off to Chicago and become a stud.
Let's be honest, that trade, as much as we like Cashner and as good as
they got the
Cashner
way
is,
better deal.
We really got the shit sandwich in that deal, if you can consider that being Cashner, because he is a good pitcher. But
definitely, you have to call a spade a spade. You got to say what's really happening here.
Darren, for those of you who don't know, is very, very knowledgeable, and he's not just a Cubs fan. He's a baseball fan, and he says it's going to take more than Cashner to get him.
Right.
And I'm not. I mean, we'll throw in Maben.
Yeah, you can have Maben. I'll even give you Carlos Quentin. Go ahead, brother. You can have everybody. You can't have Venable though. I'll keep Venable.
That was my thoughts too. Was it's probably going to take more than Cashner to get him, but if they put in a package with some prospects and Cashner, the one that we would see the most loss from is Cashner, because prospects we haven't seen yet.
Right.
Would you be willing to do that, or do you want to stay greedy like me and keep our strong rotation?
I want to stay greedy in the fact that you're adding more talent to your baseball team, and if it means cutting a weak link and a guy that you can't count on every fifth day, I would have to go with the latter there. I would make sure that you get a dependable shortstop. I'm fine personally with Amarista and Barmes. I am. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
As a platoon situation. I don't. I see that as a good situation because Amarista can play multiple spots, but I'm not opposed to getting rid of Andrew Cashner.
Supercharged wants to know about putting Quentin at first base. I just don't see it personally. I just don't think he's got the mobility.
I
to
think
even
did
play
Supercharged
first base.
maybe saw that on MLB Network. They were plugging guys in for the Padres roster because there was a plethora of different positions, and one guy had put Quentin over at first, and I go, wow, I'd never thought of that. But can you see him as your everyday first baseman?
No, I personally can't.
He can't even bend down to tie his shoe. He needs help.
When you talked about Barmes and Amarista, I'm going to be honest with you. It's so early right now, but my dream, my thoughts, and my predictions are Barmes is going to take that shortstop job, and Middlebrooks is going to take that third base job.
You think so?
That's
the one I'm so concerned about.
We're not going to have rotations at either spot. Those are going to be our guys.
Yeah.
And Amarista is going to be a super sub, which is exactly what you want.
Right. Well, let's move over to that third base side. That's a big question. You got Spangenberg, you've got Youngberry, Solarte, and now Will Middlebrooks.
Right.
I think Solarte will steal that job away. Unless Middlebrooks plays like he did 2 seasons ago.
That's what I'm thinking.
If he plays like he did last year for the Red Sox, I don't see him stealing that job. Solarte came on strong towards the end of the season and really showed a lot of pop with that bat and hit for average. So I liked his on base.
Solarte came in and he kind of gave us a little bit of energy that
lift
we didn't have.
Well,
and,
here comes a guy from the Yankees, right?
Right. And he hit triples, and he was he was doing.
I think
some
he hit
really,
a walk-off
really cool stuff.
once,
Yeah, it was really, really cool. We got our weekly call from SoCal Trav. SoCal, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
Good evening, gents. How are you?
Great. It looks like we'll shift back to Chargers real quick. It looked like Jake really was in agreement. It's funny. You did mention it in the chat room. You're going to have to take my word for it. I had Chris Hairston and Brian De La Puente written down on my show notes here to make sure that I had asked him about those guys. I kept track of everything that you had said last week. I have it all written down here still. So, but he really agreed. He liked both of those guys.
Yeah, I think they're solid, and I know they're going to probably demand a little bit more money this year, but you can't demand a whole hell of a lot more when you made it less than $1 million last year. They can't come out and go on $3 or $4 million. They're just not going to get it. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm actually on board with you. I would love to bring a couple guys in, a couple under the radar guys that are just going to play solid. I don't want to dedicate too much money to one position besides the quarterback position, but I think you start putting too much money towards one position, and your lineup and your team gets a little bit too lopsided, and you get a little bit too weak in other positions.
Well, what I like about Brian De La Puente is, like I said, I mentioned before, he's from San Clemente High School. He's a local guy, and I didn't really follow him through the high school ranks, but I know who he is and how he played. The guy's a beast, man. And he was a beast in Chicago. He's, like you said, he's under the radar. I don't think a lot of people know about him. And shit, I don't know if even teams even look at him. But maybe, like Supercharged said, I should be the fucking GM of the Chargers.
Absolutely.
Hey, Trev, let's cut to the nuts and bolts here. Is Pujols going to have over 25 home runs for your Angels this year? And also, will Houston Street get over 50 saves? Let's talk about Angels baseball.
I think Pujols actually will probably hit about 30 this year. He's
really.
You know, he came off that
in a wheelchair
injury he had. Dude, come on, the guy's powerful, dude. He came off that foot injury for last year was his first really healthy year with his whatever how you pronounce it, flanchus, whatever the hell that foot disease thing is. He fought it in St. Louis.
Plantar fasciitis.
That's it. He fought it in St. Louis. He fought it when he was in Anaheim the first couple years. And last year he had a really good season last year. I think he'll hit about 32, maybe about 32 homers, somewhere between 30 and 32 this year.
Well, what's going on with Josh Hamilton's vagina?
Fuck that guy.
How many more years do they owe him, by the way?
Oh, too many.
Here's a 5-year, $125 million deal. That's a waste of cash.
Oh, man, that's a hit. No, I just wanted to get in a little baseball with you. I see you all the time tweeting Angels baseball, and I know you're primed and ready for a little baseball to kick off, too. I mean, I know this is a Charger-dominant show usually, but I think the fever right now has been baseball dominant. So I know you've been kicking around a little bit. So
what's your thoughts on the Padres? Are you a Padre fan at all, or are you just Angels and everybody else?
I do follow the Padres. They are my National League team. I got to support my boys down south.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you think of what they've done so far?
Dude, what they've done is unreal. I don't know where this A.J. Preller guy came from and where he pulled out what magical bunny he pulled out of his hat that had just endless amounts of cash strapped to the tail.
Right.
But the guy has, and they still have money to spend. I mean, they're not, I don't think they're done. I honestly tell you the truth. If we could get one more solid starter in that rotation, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want him here. He talked trash on San Diego, blah, 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 blah. Even though he's from San Diego, I think Hamels is a good possibility. He may be showing up in some Padre jersey before the season begins because he's in his last year of his contract in Philadelphia. If the Phillies want to get something for him, now is the time to trade him away. Because if they don't, he's going to walk free at the end of the season.
That rotation.
Could you imagine if Cole Hamels was on that rotation? And now we're looking at
no, you're looking at a World Series team. Legit.
Now we're looking at Ian Kennedy being your fifth starter for crying out loud.
You know what I mean? Like that's nasty stuff. That is nasty stuff.
The only way is I wouldn't want to trade a pitcher that we have currently, a starting pitcher for Cole Hamels, just because Hamels only how many years is left? You said he only has 1 year left.
That is last year of his deal with Philadelphia. He'll be a free agent at the end of 2023.
He'll either be gone before spring training or at the trade deadline. That's for sure. Yeah. But they want a damn load back for him. They want 4 legitimate prospects and even maybe an everyday guy. They want a real big haul back for that guy. So I don't see it happening before spring training.
Well, you know what though? They got to think smart though, because look at it this way: if they don't, they know they're not going to get top prospects, 3 or 4 top prospects, and they might get a couple prospects or maybe an everyday guy, but if they don't do anything with him now, it's better to do it now before the season starts because then whatever team gets him has a full year with him versus a half-season rental, which I've seen that go sour for many teams.
Contract regardless, but no, it's just the Phillies. I think once we got Shields at a better rate for a more consistent type of pitcher. Of course, you'd love to have a Cole Hamels, but James Shields fits the bill in San Diego. So that put us to. I mean, without Shields, I was thinking playoffs. Wild card team. With Shields, I'm thinking you should probably make reservations for the playoffs. You should. I know they haven't played a game yet, but on paper, with the players they have, there should be no question about competing for a playoff spot this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys will. I think you guys will be solid. I think the Padres will get a playoff spot, and I think they're really going to give those piece of crap guys that wear blue north on the 5. They're going to give them a run for the money. Money doesn't always buy everything, and the Padres still don't have the highest payroll in baseball. They're nowhere near what the Dodgers have spent blowing wads of cash over the past 2 seasons, and still have nothing to show for it.
I think the Dodgers got older. The Dodgers got older, man. They brought in Kendricks and Jimmy Rollins to play short. I know Jimmy Rollins is a solid shortstop. I think we all agree with that. But you're getting older in a sense, and his average has declined a little bit over the years. So I don't know what they're really doing over there. I don't know why they're going with more a veteran presence, and then you get rid of a 25 to 30 home run guy in Kemp. So you really kind of scratch your head, and Hanley Ramirez takes off to Boston. So, I'm kind of befuddled what they've done. Their pitching's studly. They've always got great pitching. But, I think the Padres give the Giants and the Dodgers a run for their money. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know if the Giants are going to be as good this year. I don't think they're going to be as. Plus, it's not a even year numbered season, so they're not going to make the World Series.
Yeah,
right.
But I think the Padres actually have a legitimate chance. If they don't win the West, they will get one of the wild cards. But I think they have a really good shot. At winning the West. You got the pitching rotation is absolutely just.
It's filthy. Sickness. It's filthy. Yeah.
It's nasty sickness.
Yeah.
And you guys got a good. The only thing I'm concerned about though with the Padres is the outfield because. All three of those guys. Well, Upton's really good, but I'm worried about good old Kemp because he has been injured.
Right.
He's not as fast as he was.
You're thinking defense.
Yeah, the defensive side of the outfield is not. It's not a great outfield lineup, but if they can stay healthy. They'll be okay, but but I think the best guy in the outfield right now is Justin Upton.
Right.
But Will Myers and Matt Kemp, they're good, but they're not great. But then the flip side is you get a great bat out of both. All three of those guys have tremendous power.
Yeah, you're swapping defense for
bat.
Yeah, exactly.
I would swap defense for bats, especially the Padres who are so
boring,
lacking in bats last season. We would have loved to trade a bat for some defense. Well, once again, Travis, we love hearing from you. We love your calls. We love the input you gave on those offensive linemen for the Chargers. We look forward to work.
That Jake agreed with me on that. That's pretty rad. I was pretty pumped that he liked those guys.
Yeah, he liked
Radar Boys.
He liked both of those guys. We're going to be talking defensive. We're going to be talking defensive backs next week. So bring your A game and bring us some of your defensive back thoughts next week, and we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, I got a couple of guys in mind, and maybe I should email Tom Telesco and tell him, but hey, how about these two guys?
Yeah,
they're cheap. Good, but like I said, I'm just a peon in the outside world. He won't listen to me. But it's cool if he does.
Maybe he should. All right, man. We look forward. Go ahead.
And by the way, I know I was in the chat room, but in case people are looking and they listen to this, I'm going to order some Chargers jerseys probably in the next few weeks here.
Cool. Yeah, let us know, man.
$30. Yeah, they're $30 a piece. They got a good variety of players, and the throwbacks they got they got Seau, Winslow, Allsworth, and Fouts, and they also got LT, which I guess is not considered a throwback jersey.
Not yet.
So $30, and if I get 10 or more order, then it's free shipping. So and they're totally legit. It's all my Weddle jerseys. So
yeah,
right on,
for $30,
man. Keep us posted.
Yeah, I'm in. If you, I'll let you know next week what I'm interested in. But I'm in for that, Trav.
And I think we should all try to go to opening night at the Padres game if we can figure out how to get seats for that damn thing.
Yeah, I think it's sold out, but I think we're going to be doing something for opening weekend for the Padres. We're still trying to put something together. We might be doing a show down there yet. We're still trying to figure that out, but we'll definitely be doing something.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good time we get everybody down there. If not opening night, maybe the second game, which probably won't be as hard to get seats as night one. So.
Hell yeah.
That's true. All right, man. We look forward to talking to you next week. As always, we enjoy it. We enjoy all your input, man, and everything you do for us.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk DB next week. And go Bolts!
Go Bolts!
Later, Trap.
A couple things that came up in the chat room.
Yeah.
I'll go and then I'll let you go. First thing, Brian in the chat room mentioned on March 21st there's going to be a rally for a stadium. Unfortunately, in the chat room it scrolls up so far. I lost all the. I lost exactly what he put, but I wrote down March 21st at Horton Plaza. It's still a little ways away. Anybody in there? I'm sure most of the people in the chat room are already following Brian. I'm sure you can follow him on Twitter. He's going to be updating that, and any information we get, we'll
March
update you on
March
that.
21st, 12 p.m. Horton Plaza. Lots of surprises in store. Stay tuned for more details.
There it is. Josh redid it.
Josh
has got the time this week to mess around in that chat room.
Interesting points in the chat room. Supercharged brought up Maurer. I really Morrow. I'm sorry, Morrow.
Yeah.
I'm getting. There's a Maurer and a Morrow. We got to really, and they're both Brandon.
Oh, that's right.
So we both have to. We have to get our names right.
One of
this
them's
offseason.
fighting for the 5th spot, and one of them's in the. They might both end up in the bullpen.
I'm hoping Morrow from the Blue Jays ends up in the 5th spot. I really like him, and I actually went back and looked some videotape. I was looking at some scouting.
Really?
Yeah. He does have some nasty stuff. He can punch some people out. Then Maurer from the Seattle Mariners, the guy we got for Dino.
Mm-hmm.
No, Seth Smith, I want to say. I really like him. He's another power arm. Man, he's loaded up with some power arms. That bullpen is great. Josh earlier had said he wasn't sold on Joaquin Benoit. I'm
not either.
I'm sold on him. I had no problem with him. I didn't felt uneasy last year at all when he came in. He had a couple hiccups here and there. Obviously, we were going to compare our closers to the great Trevor Hoffman and what Houston Street had done, and even Heath Bell for a short time. We come from a great stock of closers. We can't put everybody on the pedestal.
You're right. We're spoiled. We're closer spoiled here in San Diego.
Right.
I'm going to make a prediction. By the end of the season, our closer will be Quackenbush.
Okay, I can see that.
And everybody, when he comes out, what's everybody going to be doing?
Quack, quack.
Everybody's going to be blowing the duck colors.
Yeah, dude,
you watch. That's going to happen.
How cool would that be? And
that's going to happen. And Josh had mentioned something, and he put it back up there again. I actually, believe it or not, Josh, I didn't miss it. I actually saw it. Josh thinks the Padres should start the season with a 4-man rotation, and I think he's taken into account days off and still getting the guys the extra rest. I'm going to go ahead and respond to that first. I think it's a bad idea.
Very bad idea.
Because we have the depth. Why? Usually when they do that, it's usually you're starting a rookie in your 5th spot, and you don't want to start him at the beginning of the season because you don't need to.
Right.
But with I have to keep going to my list here, with either Despaigne or Erlin or Morrow or Johnson, I'm fine with any of those guys starting. I would rather get those guys, especially early in the season, the extra rest and go with
Josh
5.
comment. And slow starts in April. But that's slow starts on the offensive side. Not the pitching. Our pitching's fine, dude. You know what we did last year. We couldn't hit our weight. So you add a couple bats and you keep your rotation clean as a whistle.
Give the guys arms.
Give them the rest.
The more rest they get early, the better they're going to pitch later in the season.
And you can't tell Cashner to go out there every 4th day and James Shield every 4th day, and then their arms are going to fall off.
They'll love
October.
the extra days off.
Of course.
So I'd say I would almost if we had the room on our roster, I would be fine with the 6-man rotation.
I was thinking the same
and giving everybody an extra day off.
Wow, wouldn't that be cool?
They can't do that. We got an Aztec update.
Game just tipped off. So cool. Yeah, keep them coming, man.
Yeah.
Not the whole chat room, but you know,
7-3 Aztec so far. That's nice. So Mikey's there watching.
Now, here's my opinion going into spring training. I don't know if you agree. We got a plethora of players on our roster right now, and we're still waiting to see what happens with some of these outfielders, some of the extra arms. I think a couple more moves are coming in trade. It could be a Cashner, could not. I hope not. But if we do get that stud shortstop, I will be happy. But I think a trade comes with then maybe a reliever, a couple relievers that we have in the back end. Maybe package for a position player or package an outfielder and a reliever. We need to cut this roster down somehow.
Right.
There's no way you can go into the season like this.
Well, Maurer in the bullpen and Kelly are the guys that we just brought in.
Right. Yankees and Mariners.
Garces, Campos.
They're on the fringe.
Excuse me.
You're okay.
Sorry about that. But the other guys are guys that pitched very well for us last year. Dale Thayer, I mean, at one time he closed for us for a little while. Dale Thayer's a good pitcher.
I love Dale Thayer in the seventh inning this year. I really do.
Nick Vincent.
Love him.
Alex Torres.
Yeah, this is why it's
with
such a
great with the mushroom hat.
The Luigi,
Torres,
the Mario hat.
Kevin Quackenbush, the future closer, in my opinion, and Joaquin Benoit, who I hope keeps the closing job. To be honest, I don't want to be right. I would rather Benoit just sew it up for us at the end of the game, and Quackenbush gets the 8th. Give Thayer the 7th, and
Joaquin.
Yeah,
because if you notice, Balsley and Buddy like to have the 7th, 8th, 9th wrapped up. They've always done it that way. My hope is we get Odie Espanier. I hope he competes for the 5th spot. I'm kind of hoping he gets that long reliever role in the bullpen because I think Odie could come in when we're struggling, or even come in if we're winning a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson started as the long reliever
and that's a good option too. This is what our problem is. We don't know where some of these guys and what role they're going to have on this team.
Josh in the chat room, we can't miss if he says something in there he wants to talk about because he throws a fit.
Right. He's screaming, punching things.
He's got. He said Preller mentioned today that our roster is set.
That's smoke,
I think
bro.
that's exactly.
He's said that from day one. He goes, we're just looking to improve the ball club, and then 17 trades later.
Yeah, I really do believe that if we started opening day with this lineup, I would be fine with it.
Oh yeah.
I said the same thing before we got Shields, though. So I'm fine with that. However, I don't think that it's set. I think that it's always fluidly moving, and I think that he's always out there sniffing around.
There is a mouse in his head on a wheel, and I don't think, like they say, this guy don't sleep. He's a bulldog, man. He's kind of like James Shields on the mound. He's just very intense, and he doesn't show it in a press conference, but Preller has this real weird mystique about him that he just gets shit done, and really just enthusiastic about his job. This guy's got the keys to this Ferrari, and he's been taking it for a spin, man.
Yeah, well, one of the things he said during the press conference today was he really appreciated the fact that the ownership group gave him the power to do that, because ultimately he can't make any of these moves if they don't give him if they don't let him do it, and we complain about the last few GMs that we had, but ultimately their hands were tied. I don't think that they had the freedom that they're giving Preller,
right.
And so it's really, really nice like I said, it's too early to tell if these were successful moves, but it's really nice to have something to talk about.
Medica or Yonder, I mean, this here, Josh, man, I've been thinking about, I don't even know if Medica makes the roster on opening day.
I think he does, because he can play outfield and first. And there's who do you got? If Medica does not make the roster, who plays first base?
Will Middlebrooks or
really?
Will Myers. Yeah, that's been thrown around too.
Okay.
It's just I don't think Medica gets on this team. I don't see how you take a left-handed bat out in Yonder, who they think's a bounce-back candidate, to hit gappers in Petco again. I don't see him in a Padre. I mean, he's in a Padre uniform, but he might be in AAA.
Wow.
I just don't. How are you going to fit him on the roster?
That's surprising, because you've been a huge Medica fan.
I love Tommy Medica.
I'm surprised to hear you say that, because you've always been such a fan.
Unless he outworks Yonder in spring, and he just takes that job from him. They like Yonder Alonso and his bounce back ability and the left-handed pop he brings.
And we are a right-hand dominant lineup.
It makes sense.
Anybody batting left is going to get. I'll tell you what. If Medica were to be the starting first baseman, he would have to blow it out of the water.
That's all I'm saying.
Anything close is going to be given to Yonder, and I understand why. That's just the way it is.
There's a few options at first base this year, and worst comes to worst, they can try Will Myers at first. And then that leaves the door open to see if Carlos Quentin can play left field, and you move Matt Kemp back to center. There's a lot of different things, components here, that we have no flipping idea what's going to happen in spring. It's wide open at some of these spots, man. It's conundrum.
We're taking a step back defensively. Everybody talks about that. Are you worried at all about that? Or
It doesn't bug me.
No, I mean it's not like none of these guys can't. It's not like we're taking a catcher and throwing him out in center field. These guys are major league outfielders. They're not. they're not crap.
No.
You know, it's not like a pitcher out there playing the outfield. These guys are major league outfielders. They're just not Gold Glove outfielders.
No, they're not. And this is what kind of bugs me. This is the chat that, you know, when you see on Twitter and people bitching about, oh, my God, the defense took a step back. Oh, my God, what are we going to do at third base? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
We just went out and made 55 trades to improve this ball club, and you're bitching about who's playing third base. I don't care. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Right.
It's not some no-name kid from Double-A that we're trying to see what's going to happen for the rest of the season and ho-hum this and ho-hum that.
I'll take him making error and giving up 1 run a week if he drives in 5.
I don't care.
Yeah.
So stop bitching about it. And that's what I have to say to people on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm getting sick of that banter because that's stupid. I'm being a Padre fan all these miserable years and suffering, and we still talk pridefully about our team and had nobody to really put our stock into.
Any of you out there who don't know that, listen to our shows last season, man. We had
to try to find stuff to talk about.
Oh, man, it was tough.
We were Debbie Downers.
It was tough.
I just, all I wanted to say on that was just stop being so negative.
Yeah.
Look at what we've done here. We've got excitement. Stop bitching about defense. Let it work itself out. Who cares if they drop a fly ball? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
What if you can't make that diving catch like Cameron Maben did? Who cares?
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
He's going to go hit out.
He's going to hit higher than 201.
Yes.
You know?
That's it. And that's what you look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
You can have the defense and you can have the great catches, but you're going to get a 201 batting average.
That's not going to cut it.
With 2 strikeouts a night.
Yeah.
You know?
How often do we see bases loaded, 1 out, we can't get a run in?
Well, very rarely because we rarely get the bases loaded.
Well, you're right. But how many times did you see that last year when it did happen?
Yeah, very frustrating.
Very frustrating.
And all we talked about was they need to bring in more hitters. Now they've brought in more hitters.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The haters out there.
Let's enjoy.
Grab a beer and enjoy the ball games and chill out a minute. It's like,
yes.
Jesus. You know?
Yeah. So it's really, really exciting. It's really, really fun to talk about the Padres.
It is.
It's really neat to have Padres stuff to talk about.
What was your third base? Who would you like to see start? I mean,
Middlebrooks.
I know you like. I love Middlebrooks.
I was so happy when they brought him in. I think he's one of those under the radar guys.
Yeah.
He was overlooked because it was right around the time where we brought in all those outfielders, and everybody was talking, and then everybody was talking about Myers for Cole Hamels, and everybody was worried about that.
Yeah, you guys were.
Yeah,
I was kind of a fan.
And Middlebrooks just kind of signed, and we talked a little bit about him, but I think he's
he is under the radar.
You know, and it's funny is I talk to some people who know much more baseball than I do, and they're not quite sure about Middlebrooks, to be honest with you.
He's up and down.
For some reason, now, let's give the caveat here. Last season, I talked about Cameron Maben was going to be the comeback player of the year. I don't know if you remember that or not.
You did.
I'm calling myself out. We don't need to go find the tape because I
man.
did say that.
How funny.
So who knows? Maybe I'm ruining this thing for Middlebrooks, but for some reason, I just think that he's going to really have a breakout year this year.
Hey,
I really do.
I hope you're right. I think, and just my opinion, Solarte gives him a run for his money in spring.
Yeah.
And I think Spangenberg just kind of gets X-nayed because it's a numbers game at this point.
Well, that'd make Mikey happy because Mikey don't like.
Well,
Spangenberg.
I love Spangenberg. I think he's got tons of upside. But when you got a Solarte who kind of came strong, like we talked earlier, I think that's going to be a fun battle in camp, and that first base side, that's going to be a fun battle as well.
Now, what do you think about Jerko? Everybody's everybody's talking about Jerko like they just assume that he's going to have going to have a bounce back.
I keep hearing that too.
Everybody's assuming, and us too. We're
like
just like
305, 20 home runs.
We're like, write him in the lineup at second base. Jerko's going to be fine. Nobody's really talking about him.
Right.
Jerko sucked ass last year. He really did.
Defensively, he wasn't terrible.
Right?
I want to talk defense with you.
Yeah, we've been talking
offensively.
We got defense, and we got 2 strikeouts and 201. Remember what happens when we get 2
offensively,
defense?
he was horrid. He had the sophomore slump, and he was our guy.
He had a foot problem, maybe.
He had
we
some
don't
injuries.
know if it was. We thought at the time maybe they're using it as an excuse to get him some minor league.
Hey, no excuses this season. You come in healthy. Presumably, and you take that spot back and you show people that you're a third-year guy with a big contract now.
Now, one of the things that the Padres have done is they haven't just brought in one guy. They've brought in a lot of guys, and I think that one of the, we have the Josh Taylor's predicting comeback player of the year for Jerko. Sorry about that, Jerko. That's it for you now.
Yeah.
one of the problems is it seems like Petco Park is the place that hitters come to die. And, I do believe that it is a little harder to hit home runs there, but I honestly believe it's more mental than anything. I think people try and swing too hard. When you have a guy like Jerko who has all that upside, I think that they maybe try to when you talk about guys trying to go up and hit a 5-run home run, maybe tried to do too much. Maybe the pressure's going to be off guys like him and Middlebrooks, where we have so much offense that these guys don't have to worry about being the only guy out there.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe that curse of Petco Park kind of being squashed this season.
Well, and it's like the press conference when Upton and Kemp came in here. That was questions the media asked. Hey, what do you feel about playing 82 games in Petco? And Justin Upton responded beautifully. He goes, "A home run's a home run anywhere."
Yeah.
And if you've seen Justin Upton play,
Yeah.
his home runs aren't cheapies over the left
Right.
field wall. They're up in the second deck. And Preller said the same thing. I'm not looking. He goes, I'm not concerned about a ballpark. I'm concerned with bringing in guys that can hit it 3 rows deep.
Yeah, that's the only thing
That's refreshing,
that
right?
Petco doesn't give is they don't give the cheap home runs, with the exception of one. I saw Ryan Klesko hit a cheap home run down the left field line on like a check swing one time.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a real home run. It's a legit home run. No cheapies at Petco Park.
No.
But it's not home run proof. We saw lots of guys come in here last season and hit bombs against a really good Padres pitching staff. So apparently Justin's checking right now to see if he has to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, my Powerball tickets. I looked at the SoCal Travs numbers, and I looked at 11 on my first row, and I have 11, and I'm like, I don't have any more.
So you will be working. Anybody I'm not going to say where you work, but anybody listening from Justin's work, he will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, they will.
He
They'll
will be
see
there
me,
tomorrow.
unfortunately.
And at my work, I will too, because I forgot to buy a ticket. So,
Well, I think he shorted me a number here. Is there 5 numbers? Anyway, I'll get back to the show. Trying to see if I'm a millionaire here, but yeah, man, I'm stoked. I guess we'll go to commercial here, and we'll come back, and we'll hit up a little Aztec news, and then talk a little more Padres.
Absolutely. Aztecs are up right now too.
Yeah,
so,
Josh has said they're on like a 25-0 run or some shit. That's awesome. I can't wait to go home and watch the replay.
Help with your business project that is due? Maybe you need business cards to help your business stand out. We at San Diego Sports Junkies got you covered. SK Digital Imaging can do it all. Give our buddy Sean K a call, 858-408-0732. SK Digital Imaging, from business cards to the bigger projects, SK Digital Imaging and our buddy Sean K will get your printing done right.
Cali Comfort Barbecue in Spring Valley was built for West Coast Sunday morning football and fight night. Cali Comfort Barbecue has quickly become San Diego's slow smoke barbecue sports entertainment destination. Full service catering available for all your tailgating needs. CaliComfortSD.com.
All right, we're back. If anybody out there cares, that song that's playing right now happens to be one of my wife's favorite songs.
I did not know that.
No,
Till the break.
it's kind of funny. It's just one of those weird songs. I think it reminds her of her young childhood hanging out with her sister or something. I don't know. But every time it comes on, she talks about how much she loves that song. Aztecs are playing right now. Looks like the last update is they're up 21-5 at the 12-minute mark.
What defense! This is what I was trying to tell guys at work. Yes, they got smoked in Boise. Bad outing. Boise couldn't miss from three-point land. I'm watching that game going, we are not coming back, and our defense cannot do a damn thing right now. And they step back and hit everything in town. And we just got behind, and we couldn't make up the difference. So it's good to see them out to a fast start. And like I was saying at work today, a buddy of mine said, hey, is that loss going to hurt us? I go, no, because we're going back home, and we are undefeated at home, and we really take the home court advantage to heart. So
the problem is, we talk about all this, and all this stuff is great, but in basketball, what really matters is the tournament. Yep. And you're not going to play any games at home in the tournament.
Nope.
And with the way the Aztecs are playing, so inconsistent.
That's the concern.
In order to go deep in the tournament, you have to be consistently good, and it's just 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's like they just can't get any rhythm going.
It doesn't feel like last year's and the prior team where foot on the gas.
Yeah.
Let's knock them out now.
Right.
Now you're seeing struggle. You're seeing struggle, and
it's not getting better.
No,
to be honest.
No,
with
and
you.
it's not, and we're already majority of way through the season, obviously.
Right.
So you can't pin it on, hey, it's early.
And I'm not hating on them, by the way. I'm not trying to hate on them. I'm just saying I'm worried. I'm just worried that
it's concerning.
That they're
tournament time.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. It's concerning.
I was thinking by now they're going to kind of have it together and kind of have like all the wheels were lubed and going.
We're on point.
It's just not like that. And although tonight they're just kicking ass 25-5 for crying out loud.
Yeah, and the concern is, where does this inconsistency end? The first round of the conference tournament, you get bounced out. Now, you do that, and now you're on the bubble. Because, you know what, maybe you get bounced out by a frickin' San Jose State because you couldn't hit a shot to save your life.
The problem is, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And or if they squeak in, what are they going to squeak in as a 13
right.
seed?
And then now it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Because you're playing some big boys in the opening rounds.
In the opening round, you don't get any time.
Agreed.
You just got to get in there, and
it's concerning.
Yeah,
it is, and that's the inconsistency this year, and it's a shame. But you know what? It brings me back. Win your home games like they have been.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Figure it out when you get to the tournament. Because I've seen them grind out some good road wins this year, too. The one in, what comes to mind? I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, yes, well, Maui's neutral. But, beating BYU in overtime.
Yeah.
That really impressed me. But, no, they'll be fine. I think they're a 2-win team in the NCAAs this year, and it sucks to say that because my sights were set on a Sweet 16 or better, and I was thinking Elite 8, and that was my prediction.
Yeah.
I still think they can get there if they get the wheels going, like you were saying. They get on a roll, win the conference tournament, win the conference regular season, go in with some momentum. I could see it happening, but now it's hard.
The thing is, as bad as the Aztecs have been this season with their inconsistency, they have the talent and the style of play to beat any team.
They do.
They could play the number 1 team in the league, and they could beat them because of the way they play.
And they are right now.
like Mikey says, they grind and they wear you down. Yeah. The problem is sometimes they shoot 25%.
That can't happen.
You can't do that. I don't care how good your defense is. You can't do that.
Yeah, and that's the inconsistency of falling behind in a game. When they go on the road in these hostile environments, let's not kid you. The Mountain West has some pretty good home court advantages. And you see them get down 10, 12. And you see them clawed back a little bit against Boise. They tried. But Boise just kept knocking them down. And I'm like, you're done. You're out. You're TKO'd.
And that's another thing is the style that they play. If they get play up against a team, no matter how good your defense is, if you get against a team that's shooting really hot, there's nothing you can do about it. And we don't have the firepower to keep up with that.
No, we don't. Pretty cool. Josh is saying Tony Gwynn Jr. led the I Believe chant. I know they're doing a tribute to his dad tonight. It looks like his daughter sang the national anthem. That's a really cool tribute for Tony Gwynn. That's awesome.
Mikey was part of that chant, I'm sure. He's probably having a blast out there.
Well, he's part of the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's having a good time. It's always fun at Viejas. If anybody out there get a chance to go there, you need to go. I know you need to go to a game still. So.
I've been to it's been a few years since I've been to an Aztecs game. I would love to go and just be part of all that.
We'll get you there.
We'll have to do that, and we'll all go down there, and it would be a lot of fun.
In other Aztec basketball news, we did land a 4-star recruit, Keith Smith from Seattle. This is a 6'7" wing, and he's probably not done growing yet. He'll probably max out at 6'10", 6'9". This kid is a 4-star guy, and I hate throwing around the stars, but the stars
matter.
Stars matter. It's a big when your team can land 3-star, you're kind of on the rise. And when you're starting to land 4 to 5-star guys, as the Aztecs are doing consistently,
right?
That you've made yourself into a program, and that's what we've been preaching the last few years. This team has really turned the corner with recruiting, and for me, it's good to see them keep replenishing the stock.
Yes.
Guys leaving senior year, maybe a guy leaving early because he's ready for the pros. Not necessarily the case this season. With like a Winston Shepard, he's still probably going to come back. Lots of talent coming in. Next year, you got a Broderick Jones and a Jeremy Hemsley coming in, both 4-star guys. Steve Fisher, and you can't say enough about the coaching staff. They've done a great job.
And the recruiting, too.
It's great. It's great. This kid just committed over Twitter a few days ago, and he's being touted by Kansas, all the Pac-12 schools. He said the thing that drew him in was him and his family met the coaching staff, and they really thought it was a family-oriented type of camaraderie, and that's what drew them to San Diego State. He also mentioned that watching Kawhi Leonard in the Sweet 16 a few years back against UConn, against Kemba Walker, he said he loved the way the Aztecs got up and down, rebounded, and put the ball in the basket. So
it was really, really cool. Kawhi Leonard, what a
transformation!
Yes. And what a great recruiting tool to use him, just to point at him and say,
"You want to be a Finals MVP?"
He came from San Diego State. It just makes you all proud.
Every time he's on a national stage, you always, like NBA Finals, they always mention San Diego State. And sometimes they'll throw out, hey, Steve Fisher's a coach there. And that is a crazy free pub, that you'll get for the rest of his career while he's on TV.
Yeah.
It helps San Diego State tremendously.
Yeah,
it
and
does.
although Kawhi Leonard, he's not a big talker, he doesn't do a lot of interviews, but at the same time, he just is professional.
Shuts his mouth and does his job. He really does. What do we got here? Do you guys believe we see Poli, or has he played? I don't think we see Poli, Josh.
I don't think so
unfortunately,
either.
man. It's a big loss for us.
Yeah.
But it does give... I hate to say that because it's a senior year, and I don't mean to just downplay it, but you with an injury like that, you can't it's not even an injury, it's a condition.
Right.
You can't be too overly cautious. It's his life you're playing with.
No doctor wants to sign off, and
it's a lawsuit.
Who wants that
waiting
responsibility? With you almost look at the incident that he had, and you think, I think Josh was at that game, if I remember correctly. I think Josh was there.
He was with
he
friend.
saw it in person. When an incident like that happens, you consider yourself maybe lucky that he ended up being able to walk away from that. And maybe next time, I'm not a doctor.
No, none of us are.
Right.
It's
you just think that there's more
to it.
Yeah, there's more.
You can't risk putting him back out there.
Right.
As badly as you want to, he seems fine, but how can you? And I guess the bright side is Malik Pope, the up and coming freshman that is a 5-star guy, top 20 recruit, best recruit in Aztec history. This kid is starting to come on strong and is playing some really good minutes now. And I think if we do make the tournament, knock on wood, we should make the tournament. Whether what seed we get in or not, he's going to be a big part of maybe a couple wins in that tournament because he's such a dynamic basketball player.
Pope was the guy that Mikey, if I remember correctly, thought that was possibly a one-and-done guy. And it didn't happen, yet this year. It's gone a little bit slow. But let me ask you this. Let's just say we end up getting into the tournament and we get, like an 8 seed or something like that.
Yeah.
And we get deep and he leads us, to the
Final Four or something. Something crazy.
Or the Elite 8, and he just has just an unbelievable tournament. Do you think that there's a possibility that he goes pro after that? Do you think that could still happen?
When you're in the tournament, all eyes are on every team.
Yeah.
Every game is microscoped, and scouts will watch it. And if he does that, if he leads, say at the end of the conference tournament, say we win it, and he's scoring 12, 13 points a game, he starts scoring more points. He can hit a shot from outside. The guy can drive the lane. He can dunk. He can hit his free. The guy is an all-around basketball player. He's still rough around the edges. He's going to have his moments. He has. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yes, I think he leads this team with more minutes for Coach Fisher's Aztecs, man, I would love to see that. Maybe an Elite Eight appearance. He would get a lot of notoriety, and I think he would be concerned for state. He'd probably be one and done.
Yeah.
He's that good of an athlete. He's a freakish athlete.
Well, Mike has been kind of quietly saying that all year, that he thought that he had the talent.
He does.
To be one and done.
Personally,
and
I think he needs more bulk.
Yeah.
Maybe as a sophomore. Maybe
Yeah.
prove it. Hey, I can score.
That's what I'm thinking. Is how awesome would it be if he comes back as sophomore year?
Crazy, and maybe you get him get him his 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Give him the opportunity to be that 20 points a game type of player where the scouts go, lottery pick, top 5, then you really give yourself a chance. So
yeah.
It's been a good show, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's
What
kind
do
of
you
been interesting that the Justin and Jason show today.
Project, huh?
Yeah.
It's cool. I've had a good time, and the show does move a little quicker between hosts when you only have 2 guys, and
Right.
you really have to feed off each other, which is fun. But we do miss Mikey and Josh because just the varying opinions. That's why we get into little arguments and
Right, no
heated.
arguments tonight.
No,
we did a lot of agreeing tonight.
We're pretty level keyed. I didn't go off too much. I was a little upset about the Padre fans.
Right.
Talking, even complaining a little bit, which
Yeah.
kind of bugs me. But other than that, man, it was a good show. We had a lot of good guests, and
Yeah.
it was fun to talk a lot of Padres.
Oh, yeah.
I've been bugging my girlfriend.
I know all week you've been talking about this show. We should talk all Padres. You can say
should.
all Padres. And,
We could do a 3-hour show if we
I,
wanted.
I worry that, we talked about after the Charger season was over, we would have blown all of our Charger wad in the very first show. We had so much to talk about.
Yeah.
The problem is the Padres, pitchers and catchers report next week?
Yes, 19th.
But even once they report, I mean, we're weeks away from games still.
We are.
We're just.
But
oh,
the cool
man.
thing is we'll have some games on Fox Sports San Diego to just get a glimpse.
Yeah.
And hey, look at a box score and go, wow, Will Middlebrooks was 1 for 2 today with an RBI.
How nice is it going to be to come home,
Turn on a ball
eat
game.
your dinner, get all ready, 7:00, turn on a ball game.
It's gonna be great.
I can't wait.
I'm
can't
so
wait.
stoked, man.
For those of you who don't know, my family and I went without cable for like 4 years. We were cord
It's like a
cutters,
caveman in here.
and we just got cable back a little while ago. And I'd love to say I went out and got cable because the Padres made all these moves, but I had gotten it before that. But it is going to be fantastic to be able to come home
Yeah.
and watch some Padre games.
My favorite thing is, and during the season, even when we suck, you still love your team regardless.
Yeah.
But coming home, long day, grab a beer, chill on the couch.
Yep.
Watch most of the game out on the couch, go lay down and watch the
finish
rest.
it in the bed.
Yeah, because it's late.
Yeah.
It's always late, and you might see the rest of it. You might not. Or you might read it in the paper.
I'm an old guy, so I go to bed early, so I'll be doing a lot of that this
I'm
year.
a man. I'm almost 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting there too, man.
I'm a man. I'm over 40.
There you go.
All right, it's been a great show. We thank everybody out there for joining us. Once again, don't forget to, follow us on iTunes. Follow us on Spreaker. You follow us on Spreaker, you'll get an email when we when we start the show. Participate in the chat room.
Yeah.
Like us
Follow
on
Jason.
Facebook,
Follow Jason on Jason_SDSJ.
Yep.
Follow me, Justin _SDSJ. Josh _. The same
SSJ
theme goes for
and
everybody.
Mike.
Mikey.
Yep.
We all got the same handle, just with our names in front. Lots of Twitter. I'm always on Twitter. Usually, especially with all the stuff with the Padre news going on. I love talking Padres with all the Twitter fans. So
iHeartRadio, don't forget.
Go to iHeartRadio, favorite us, put it on your phone.
Yep. Listen
Thanks
to the shows, tell your friends.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Go on the website and write an article. You sign up, write an article.
Yeah.
It's easy, and we'd love the input, okay?
Absolutely. Good show, man.
Yeah, good show, brother.
Keep on rocking me, baby. Keep on rocking me, baby. I went from Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, LA, Northern California, where the girls are warm, so I could.
Thank you for listening to the San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans by the fans. Brought to you by Cali Comfort, home of the low and slow barbecue, and SK Digital Imaging with Josh Taylor, Justin Smead, Jason Eidsmoe, and Mike Maciejewski. Subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and on iTunes. Visit SanDiegoSportsJunkies.com for all your Chargers, Padres, and Aztecs news.